Green Day hanno alle spalle una carriera di 12 anni ed un passato punk, molto punk, difficile da dimenticare.
Sorry, I think I broke my nose.
I'm an idiot.
You take the boys out of punk rock, but you can't take the punk rock out of the boys.
Una grossa fetta del loro pubblico è infatti nostalgica di quel periodo e il successo dell'album Dookie nel 94, con più di 10 milioni di copie vendute fino ad oggi, ha complicato le cose, accostando al punk ribelle l'etichetta della fama e del successo.
I don't give a about all fame and fortune and stuff like that.
I mean, I think we went through maybe a denial phase for a while where we were saying this is not going to change our lives. This is not going to change our lives. And we could never fully accept it, which was sort of a good thing at the same time.
Dear mother, can you hear me? Why?
It sort of made me an angry person. I don't know, I felt like I was sort of living sort of a contradiction a lot because of, from the scene, coming from a punk rock scene, and then all of a sudden you're in one of the biggest bands in the world. You sort of lose focus of what your ethics are because you feel like you've, it's turned into a contradiction.
Some call it slow, some call it love.
I mean, we've changed. We're honest with ourselves, and we accept that. You know, to the same extent, knowing that we changed, we also know where we come from, and we haven't forgotten anything of where we come from. And matter of fact, this record was recorded where we come from.
Yeah!
The one thing that I've learned in the past, it's like you can do what you want and still hold on to your values. I mean, just because you happen to be in one of the biggest bands in the world doesn't mean that you know, I think that makes it more of a place where it's even more important to hold on to them.
Pay attention to the great streets and don't forget them. Some call it fun, some call it love.
We're famous, but we don't really like celebrities. We don't really want to act like celebrities because I don't know. It's not where we come from.
Subito dopo Dookie è stata la volta di Insomniac nel 94 e Nimrod nel 97 a consolidare il successo della band, album un po' più duri nel sound.
We made Insomniac, which is a little different from Dookie.
A little bit.
A little bit harder.
I think we've just written from whatever our feelings were at the time. I mean, we were obviously in a pretty pissed off and exhausted phase in Insomniac, you know, and in Nimrod it was pretty transitional. I mean, we were looking forward to things, you know, and it was a bit of a journey, but there was kind of a light at the end of the tunnel on Nimrod, you know. Even though there was a lot of anger, there was also some of the most melodic and challenging, beautifully challenging songs we've ever done.
Having trouble trying to sleep. I'm counting sheep but running down. Time ticks by, still I try. No rest for crowd stops in my mind. On my own, here we go.
Nell'arco della loro carriera i Green Day sono cresciuti e così la loro musica, e spesso il processo di crescita è difficile da accettare da parte del pubblico.
I think people have really kind of watched us grow up. I mean, going from 16 years old on Lookout Records to going to now that we're 28 years old, you know, and a lot of things changed throughout that time. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm 16 forever, you know.
We're not at that point in our life anymore. I'm proud of everything that we've done, but we probably try not to stop and dwell on our past too much. We just kind of live for right here, right now, and try and make tomorrow a little better.
I hear a lot of bands that kind of say, yeah, well, you know, the great thing about being a rock band is that I get to be a kid for the rest of my life. And it's like, fuck that. I don't want to be a kid for the rest of my life. I think it's stupid. You know, I don't subscribe to that kind of crap that you're going to have some sort of eternal youth. I think you look older and dumber when you do act like you're 16. I mean, it's pretty pathetic watching these old men go up and, you know, are ready to have a cardiac arrest on stage.
Probably the most rock and roll record we've ever made, in terms of, like, you know, early American rock and roll. You know, I think it's a good thing.
Fucking rock and roll guy. I've always been. I love it. It's like I have a lot of bands that I love. You know, this is something I've always wanted to do with my life, is to be in a rock and roll band and play the guitar. I think it's, you know, the guitar epitomizes rebellion for me, you know, and that's what I do. It's my ultimate release.
Writing about whether we're a punk band or not, or labeling us as a punk band, really wouldn't know a punk band if it came up and kicked them in the butt. So, you know, they expect that that's what a punk band would do. I think, you know, one of the things that we love about punk rock is it has ethics, and it stands for or against something. And, you know, you're challenging yourself. There is no rules. And whatever that means to people, you know, we don't set any set of rules upon ourselves.
We've always had that element about us, you know, and it was just sort of, you know, I think we kind of stripped things down. If anything, we've made it, you know, just didn't hide behind a bunch of Marshall amps and just wouldn't, you know, play rock and roll.
When you feel worse, you feel watch up like this going down the drain.
Il live resta la dimensione migliore per esprimere lo spirito rock. I Green Day provano molto per essere preparati sia sul palco che in studio.
We like to practice every song like 2 or 3 million times before we hit the studio, so that it's familiar with us, as if almost like we toured it and played it live.
We don't want to have any doubts when we go into the studio. We're not a band that likes to write music in the studio. I think that's...
The song has to, like, be like a Green Day song, you know, performable and...
We will sell no wine until it's time.
Yes.
To make the record, to actually get in, when we got into the studio, I mean, it was only about, we were like for about 2.5 months total. So, I mean, because we knew what we wanted to do, like, before we even got into the studio. So, I mean, we just basically went in there and utilized our time very swiftly and wisely. We just wanted to know exactly what we wanted to do when we went in, and we got in, and we, you know, ended up cranking it out. And we did it in our hometown in Oakland, California, which was really important. We had a studio rebuilt for us.
I think you can really hear where we come from in this record. You know,
Luscious Oakland, California.
It's a very multicultural area, you know, and it's, for us to stop and take a look at the world in our area around us was really helpful, musically and lyrically for Billy, everything.
There's different overtones to it. I mean, there's things that are sort of socio-political, socio-pathological. There's
Sack of potatoes.
sack of potatoes. There's
Sacagawea.
Sacagawea. I don't know. There's just, it's all kinds of stuff. I mean, we could go down the line of what all the songs are about. But you know, I mean, if someone wants something answered, they would listen to the record. Really, I mean, because each song, I think, individually has its own statement.
We haven't said or thought about this record. Now it's just we've given birth to another child. Here you go. What are you going to do with that child?
I prossimi progetti dei Green Day?
We'll probably tour Europe first before we do the States, and then, but you know, be strategic about it because we have a lot of responsibility and stuff at home that, you know, I mean, we don't want to run ourselves ragged, you know, like we've done in the past, and you know, to stay sane is pretty important nowadays for us.
È in vista anche dei progetti solisti.
Billy's going to conduct the Philharmonic Orchestra.
Boy, they're in big trouble.
Okay, stick that horn up your ass and blow.